The French government hid one document from everyone. That document is still missing today, but we know what's inside it. Wait a second. Let me ask you something. If you entered a cave in 1684 and came out in 1907, what would be the very first thing you looked at? Think carefully. The first thing Arnaud looked at was the sky. It hadn't changed. Then he looked at the mountains. Then he looked at the town below. Everything had changed, except himself. 1907, the Pyrenees Mountains. Early morning. A man walks out of the forest, wearing clothes made of animal skin, holding a clay vessel. His steps are calm. He knows where he's going. The farmers call out to him in French. He doesn't answer. In Basque, no. In Castilian, no. Someone says 2 words in Latin. The man's expression changes. But the language he speaks isn't Latin either. It's older than Latin. Older than the Roman Empire. For 2,000 years, no one had spoken this language. That man spoke it as his native tongue. He said his name, Arnaud. He told them his date. He told them the year he entered the cave. 1684. There wasn't a single wrinkle on his face. The best linguist at the University of Toulouse, Dr. Four, came there. For 11 days. He documented everything. He prepared an academic paper. He sent it to 2 major journals. Both rejected it without a reply. The notes were kept at the university until 1921. Then, restricted access. In 1989, the catalogue was made public. Next to the records it said, location unknown. The document exists. The contents do not. For 80 years, calling that a coincidence would be foolish. So what did Arnaud talk about? He spoke of great cities. Domed buildings that caught the sunlight and shone from afar. Roads built by engineers. Infused with a special material. In his language, he had a word for that material. Its translation, the stone that listens. A stone that carried sound from one point to another, like water. Now stop for a moment. We know this technology as a new invention. Arnaud had known it since childhood, as an ordinary part of everyday life. This civilization had existed for thousands of years. People were not the architects of the buildings, they were their guardians, because the buildings had always been there. And no one had built them. They simply existed. Then one day, they came. Men came from the east, Arnaud said. Not with swords, with documents. They changed the names of the cities. They brought in new administrators. They scattered the old population. They didn't kill them. They dispersed them. 2 generations. 3 generations. And no one spoke of the old world anymore because there was no one left who could. This is the coldest, most effective form of erasure in history. You don't eliminate the people, you eliminate their memory, and that process is still continuing. 1684, the last night of the erasure, Arnaud entered the cave. Inside was a special chamber. He had known it since childhood. His people called it the preservation chamber. A place where time flowed differently. 3 others had entered with him. 23 years later, he came out alone. For asked, why now? Arnaud replied, the current changed. The weight inside the cave, not physical, but something else, had changed. So he came out. He stayed in the village for a few weeks. He spoke. Then he left. On the margin of the last page of the prefecture's file, in different handwriting, one word, returned. Now I'll tell you something directly. When people hear this story, there are 2 kinds of people. The first says, impossible. The second says, then why was it hidden? Which type are you? Write it in the comments. I'm curious to see. But let's look at the facts. The people who heard this report were among the most educated people in France. They took it seriously. They stayed there for 11 days. They wrote everything down. Then they hid it all. No one hides the words of a madman for 80 years. They hid something dangerous. There are still unopened caves in the mountains. There are still documents in the archives marked location unknown. And one man said, I will return. Then he returned. The question is, why did he come out first? What was he supposed to deliver? For whom? Why specifically in 1907? I don't know the answer, but we do know this. Those who knew it remained silent, and silence is always a sign that something is there. If you watch this video until the end, then you already know a part of that document. Share it, because the best way to hide something is to make sure people don't know about it.